Well, we recently moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. You got
Sorry.
All right.
It's gonna take longer than half hour.
Talk about how you built those guns too.
Well, that's what I was just going to talk about. One of our routines is to go to the gym.
My name is Alejandra Moran. I use she, her pronouns. I'm class of 2017, and we're currently in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah. My name is Kevin Hernandez. I am also class of 2017. I use he, him pronouns. We just recently moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. One of the hobbies that we're just really interested in is actually weightlifting and going to the gym. I know that's something that we've been doing for many, many years. And that's kind of what's getting us into that next routine that we've been doing for a while. In addition to that, just because we like helping people, we are getting into public education and helping a couple people around the Albuquerque community.
Yeah, and I'll say that moving here, we're trying to wait until the university gym opens up. So we've actually been gym bouncing for the last month, trying to get those 7-day passes so that we don't get charged until we get a steady gym. And in terms of what Kevin just mentioned about education, we were really fortunate that there were a couple of alumni around the area who wanted to get to know us a little bit more, who were already doing some work in education around the state. So we got lunch with them a week ago, a couple of weeks ago. And it was really nice to just try to get to know them and hear about how we can actually do a little bit more to help education around the state. So it's been really nice to get to know some youth around the area and actually just know some people around here.
Yeah, this project has really shown us on the road that the Williams community really does look out for one another, and it's really fun to sort of run into them, even in the very small ways of just like, hey, let's get lunch sometime, or to the ways of like, let's work together on building a community in the area. I think that's both really impactful when it speaks to the work that Williams people do in their local communities. And also that gym aspect, totally get that. I mean, you and I lived in Williamstown without a gym, and we built our own gym at home. It's a whole thing. So that is a really fun like personal hobby and project to have because we are all projects. So thank you for sharing that.
I was actually working in admissions at Williams for the last 4 years, and only a couple of weeks ago we moved here so that I could start medical school. So I attend the University of New Mexico School of Medicine. I just finished week 1 of classes. Still doing okay, still keeping up with my sleep schedule, still trying to keep the gym routine. And I've really enjoyed it. I've met some incredible people, and in particular met a group of really amazing Latinas around the area who are obviously phenomenal and who we all want to make a difference in the medical field. So that's been really nice.
And I work in education. I've been working in education since 2013. I'm lucky enough to do it remotely now. So I've just been working in public education since then. And it's really nice.
Nice. It's both really exciting work, particularly as it relates to education, both in learning and helping others learn. It was both really, really meaningful work. Really excited to see where you both end up going with you wrapping up med school eventually and you going to business school eventually. Is that the goal?
Hopefully, yeah. I'll be applying next year, and we'll be seeing where that takes me. I'm hoping it takes me somewhere nice.
Nice. That's really exciting. Good luck to both of you and all of that.
We need all of it. Thank you. We are really hoping to get more involved with the education community just around New Mexico. And these alumni that we mentioned, they have been involved with education for decades now. And one of them's a college counselor and has been a college counselor for many years. The other one has been working with some labs around the area, and also just trying to get some initiatives going around the state. So we're trying to see how we can get more involved with that. At the moment, that's how we've become engaged. I am trying to see, at least through the medical school, how I can get involved with clinics around the area, particularly to think about the health issues that are most salient around New Mexico. So I'm excited to see how I can actually get involved with that.
And before New Mexico, we did a lot of things around the Williams community. Actually, we are the co-chairs of Williams First Alumni Network, which we really, really enjoyed doing it. We have a lot of plans in the future, so please be on the lookout for that.
sure the person who recruited y'all to be those co-chairs is really happy with that choice. No, that is really cool, and I think it'll be really exciting to see how you develop these networks with other Ephs and subsequently develop this education support system within the area, because that work is truly never-ending, as you probably know, Kevin, and it's really, really exciting to have you two wonderful people working on that. So excited to see where that goes.
And to remind myself and Kevin that we work with the Alumni Network, I had to wear this shirt, of course, always repping the first network.
My whole first year, I realized the importance of, number one, asking for help. You know, if I'm going to be honest, my first year was very tough on me. I thought I didn't like Williams. I thought Williams wasn't the place for me. And I think it was mainly because I had this, I have to do or, you know, succeed all on myself, all on my own. It took me a year and a half to realize that that was not the case. And that I could actually ask for help. And that, little did I know, a lot of my friends were asking for help and I just didn't see it. So one of the lessons that I definitely still, you know, take to today, and I always wake up remembering, is it takes a lot more strength to ask for help than it does to pretend like you know everything.
Yeah, and actually going off of that, it's actually thinking about, you know, different ways to get involved or trying to get people to be, trying to get people into your projects or asking for anything, whether it's Williams related or outside of it. The worst thing that someone can say is no, but it never really hurts to ask when you need help or when you need someone to come into your project, where you're just asking a question. It really never hurts to ask anyone, which has been, I think, really a tremendous asset, just going into medical school, thinking about all the different resources and how, you know, some of these support systems were designed to help us. We just actually have to remind ourselves that we belong in these spaces and that we deserve to be here, and that it's the worst thing, again, that someone can say is no.
Thank you both for sharing all that. There's quite a bit to unpack within that. The first thing that comes to mind is this whole notion of effortless perfection, and that other people are like succeeding without any issues, and how that is just straight up lie. And so this spreading the idea of, like, you know, it's okay to ask for help, and that's not a sign of weakness, that's actually a sign of strength and maturity, is deeply resonant, and more people need to hear that, because there's so many, not only Williams students and alums, but people in general, who have that hurdle that it's really hard to get over. And so hearing it being vocalized more, I think, will go a long way in sort of negating that narrative.
Can I add something to that? I think particularly being part of the first generation community, and both of us coming from low income communities, going to Williams was a completely new place. And so to have someone, at least for us, it was Dean Farrow, who was there to help us out during our entire 4 years at Williams, and to remind us that, you know, we were admitted by the admission committee for a reason, and reminding us that we deserve to be there just as much as everyone else. That was necessary for us to hear, for us to feel like we could be successful at Williams. And I know that, you know, again, I just finished my first week of med school, so they definitely told us that also from the get-go. The first presenter at orientation told us, you were chosen for a reason, you were meant to be here, and that's just really heartwarming. Again, coming from a background where we felt like maybe we weren't prepared enough, but we definitely have, and we deserve to be in these spaces.
This is going to sound like a cop-out answer, but a couple things. One, making people happy. Usually when I see someone doing something that makes them happy, or like I get to provide at least some, you know, drop of happiness, that really just will make my day, week, month. Seeing old friends just really just lights up. I mean, just lights up my whole day, probably my whole year. I'll make them come back. I know a friend who I've been friends with for a while, was one of my Alejandra's roommates. He'll be back, right? But no, seriously, I mean, making people happy and teaching them something. I realized after Williams, I did Teach for America, and I realized that when I taught a student something, or they kind of like finally realized how to do something, that made that's why I continued teaching for that period of time.
Yeah, actually very similar for me. Is actually seeing when something clicks for someone, whether it's a problem that they've been trying to figure out for a while, or if it's something that, you know, they've heard the answer many times, but it's that one time that it clicks. It just makes me joy to really see that. And I don't know, I'm thinking about, I was a tutor when I was at Williams, and just being able to tutor students, and just whenever that right answer, just when they see it and they feel so proud of themselves, that just brings me so much joy. So that's one of them. The other one is actually being able to spend time at the gym without any time restrictions. Just because recently, you know, we've been gym bouncing, but we've been constrained by what time I need to go to school. So we've actually rushed all of our workouts, but over the weekend, at least, we've been able to spend time, just get in the flow, do what we need to do, and just spend time, I think, with ourselves, just trying to listen to our bodies has been really nice. Also, on the other cheesy part is being able to spend time with really good friends. I think, especially in pandemic times, I've realized that being able to spend time with people just in their presence, we don't need to be doing something all the time or having to play games or talking. Just being in the presence of someone that I love and appreciate has been really nice. Living with my roommate was one of the best things that could have happened to me over the pandemic, just because I had someone that I could always talk to, someone that I could just spend time with, rant about our jobs sometimes, talk about the great things that happen in our jobs too. And so that was one of my favorite things. And actually just watching shows with friends too has been really nice.
As a side note, she was my math tutor, so I was able to see that clickiness happen whenever I really didn't. She tutored me for calculus. Yeah. And as a non-math person, I like math now, but before, I'd have to ask her like 10 times, and after the 14th, 15th time I asked, like, oh, I finally get it, and she was just like a huge smile, like, yes, an hour on that question, but you get it. Yeah, it was nice.
We were dating before this started happening too, so I think this actually brought us closer together in some way. They have to be one person.
Not necessarily.
I'll start. I have 3 that are Williams specific people. And if there weren't Williams specific people, I'd have like 5, 6, and of course my parents and everyone. But Williams specific people. And of course, there's a person who has had a major influence in my life. Some people know him as Bad Bunny. I call him Benito. We've been friends for years. But Williams specific. And if you want to cut that and send it to Benito, just let me know. I have his email. Williams specific. There are 3, and one I believe will probably both would have written a letter to her, and it is Dean Farrow. She was absolutely amazing. I mean, the letter would be so long, so I'd have to cut it very short. But she was definitely one of the first people that really believed in me, and continued to push me. Even when, honestly, I did not believe in myself, or I really thought I was at my limit, she really saw just another level for me. Sometimes I was a little hard-headed, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I would do something that she would advise against, and when clearly it went wrong, she would be the first person to tell me, like, hey, I told you this would happen, but let's figure out a solution. So, I mean, her letter would just be, thank you for being the person who believed in me when I first stepped into Williams. That's really all I can say there. Of course, the second one is another person who believed in me, and it took me a while. I went to him for a lot of help. I think I lived in the dean's office because of him, Dean Dave. As someone who was was born and raised in a low socioeconomic background, I thought I didn't know I needed that much help. But whenever I did, he would be the first one to invite me into his office. We would just talk things through. and it would be great because I'd go in, I want to talk about one thing, I ended up talking about 7 other things, but not the thing I stepped into the office to talk about. I mean, I really wouldn't have been able to, I don't think I would have been able to graduate if it weren't for him. And the last one, and I'll keep this one very short, is the biggest support I've ever had at Williams. It's unfortunate that I met her a little later in my life, but her name is Alejandra Moran, who is this person right here. But she, I mean, there were so many high points, but also so many low points in my time at Williams, and she was there for all of them. And I really do not think that would be number one in the mental health state that I am in right now. I consider myself pretty happy and pretty lucky right now. So.
Yeah, you moved with me, so.
But I also don't think I would have been a JA without her support, without her motivation, without seeing her be a JA, see her low points, see her extremely high points. So her letter, I mean, it's still being written, but it's an I love you and thank you for always putting me alongside you.
Well, that's tough to follow. I'll definitely echo everything that Kevin has said about Dean Farrow specifically. She was, I mean, by far the biggest mentor I had at Williams. I cried the day she told me that she was gonna leave Williams to obviously go become a VP at another institution. That was obviously meant to be, she was always meant to do great things. So I was really happy for her, but Williams obviously lost a great person. And she was a person who always let me into her office, no matter what issue I had, or if I just wanted to talk through anything. I honestly lived in the dean's office, particularly my junior year when all my friends went abroad and left me there. But it was incredible to have someone like that who believed in me the entire time, who pushed me to actually apply for my dream job right out of graduation, which was working in the admission office. I was just really happy to have her by my side, and she's still a mentor to this day, so I'm really grateful to have her. And the other person I would say thank you to would be another incredible Latina mentor in my previous job. Steph Gonzalez was someone that I honestly don't think I would have been as happy in my job if I hadn't had her as a supervisor. Of course, I obviously had great leadership, great role models, mentors during the entire 4 years, but Steph just made everything so much better. She was amazing at just elevating everything, trying to elevate everything that I did in my job, trying to really encourage me. And I'm just really happy to have had that mentor right out of graduation. So I think I've been really fortunate to have incredible Latina role models. And I think it's particularly pushed me to be that mentor to other students who look like me, who come from similar backgrounds as me. So obviously I'll be paying that forward, but it's because of people like them that I feel pretty secure in this step of my life. And of course, the most unofficial thank you is to my dear partner of life here, who was gracious enough to move with me for medical school and to support me through probably the most stressful years of my life, which is college, med school, and residency later on. So thank you.
So that wraps up the formal part of the interview. The last part is we really open it up to any final thoughts you'd like to share with alums, students, fans of Ephs on the Move who end up watching this. So any final thoughts you'd like to share?
You have a couple. I knew Juan and Mike before they went big, so I can tell that they are both genuine, amazing people. Hopefully this fame doesn't go to their heads. I already saw, I believe one of them is driving a Lamborghini, so the college should look into their funds. No, but I do think that Williams is a very special place. And every student should know, I mean, as Alejandra already mentioned, in the admissions office, I think does a great job at doing this, that every student belongs there. They were chosen for a reason. They belong there. And really to make that, community, Williams College, a little bit, have Williams College be a little bit about you too, right? So change it a little bit in however you see fit. It's not perfect. I think not even Williams College knows that understands that it's not perfect. But it molds, it changes. As a student who didn't feel completely, I didn't feel like I felt there. I felt like I was supposed to belong there the first year. I can say that when I wanted to hear, I wanted everyone to hear my voice and I wanted to do more things, that I was welcomed. So it took a little bit on my end, but at the end, I'm doing an interview now. So I do love Williams College now.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo everything that Kevin just said, particularly with knowing that students, obviously, some specific subset of students might not find Williams to be the place for them for a variety of reasons. I think Williams has had a history of having some violent practices against some students, and to be honest, the college has been trying to rectify some of those and to move forward in a more positive way, try to bring some changes. Many of those brought on by students demanding those changes, as it happens at most other institutions, unfortunately. But Williams, I do think, is a very special place, one that gave us a lot of resources, eventually a lot of the confidence to actually go out into the world and really ask us questions, trying to bring out the creativity in ourselves and other people and any projects that we take a part of. So I'm really, really grateful for that, and I want to again encourage other people to really do claim Williams as their own, and that's going to be in many different ways. There's not one way to think of Williams as your home. So I think my way of claiming Williams was very different than some of my core group of friends, and we had many similar identities. So I do appreciate that Williams can be home for many people in many different ways. So I just want to remind other people that hopefully that will be the case for them as well.
Thank you.
Sorry, one thing to add. Because I also want to specify that only doesn't mean current students. It also means alums, even alums who were not as involved in the community when they were first students. They're alums, right? The college still listens to their voices. As an alum who has had a couple of comments and wanted to call people, they listened to me. They didn't check if I was involved in the community. They know I was an alum and they took my suggestions and they would always want to hear me out. So even if you are an alum who didn't completely enjoy your 4 years there, you're still an alum, you graduate, and they want to hear from you. At least that's what I realized.
And also, last thing, some of the things that might not have existed when other people were students have certainly evolved, and they will continue to evolve.
Yep.
Again, hopefully in the right direction, and hopefully with the college moving a little faster than it has in some previous years. But we want to make the institution better for future students. So again, hopefully regardless of what people's experiences was with Williams, that they continue to stay involved in some way to make that place better for other students who might come from a similar background as them, so that they can continue to claim Williams hopefully sooner than they did.
Thank you. There's a lot there, and I think the biggest aspects of that is this idea of making and claiming your space, be that on campus as a student, in your life as an alum, in your local community, and really developing the whole person so that they can develop that confidence to go out into the world and be like, this is my narrative, this is my space, I am owning this. And acknowledging that this idea of Williams is an ever evolving and moving target. Like it's much more of a concept of what we want it to be, and less about like any one specific aspect of Williams. And over time, it's going to change, it's going to evolve, and the agents of change are going to be the members of the community. So reminding ourselves that it's important to be involved in whatever ways is meaningful really goes a long way in encouraging that change. So thank you for being instigators of that change. Thank you for participating in this interview. We're so happy to have you, and thank you for welcoming us to Albuquerque.
Thank you all for coming. We recently moved to Albuquerque. You can go.
No, I'm sorry. I got it.